Hey, welcome back to another video. It is time for more DC x Sonic the Hedgehog, and I am so glad that I get to say that sentence. Yes, DC x Sonic Metal Legion is finally upon us. The first issue came out a couple days ago at the time I'm recording this. It's probably been about a week and change by the time it's uploaded because, time and editing and whatnot are things that need to occur. If you saw the videos last year I did on the first crossover, then you know that I really loved that book and that I was ready for more of it basically as soon as it ended, really even before it was over. So as soon as this series was properly announced, I've been just hyped for it ever since. Really, I've been hyped since the end of the first crossover because they teased it right at the end, but they finally announced it a handful of months ago, and I've been on the edge of my seat waiting, and it's finally here. And I'm proud to report that going off of the first issue, we are in for a lot more good times. If you liked the first crossover, then this is going to be more of that same kind of energy. Like before, I'm not going over every single little detail in this book, but there are going to be spoilers, so be aware of that if that's something you're worried about. Maybe go and read the first issue, then come back and watch this video, or if you just don't care, continue onwards, obviously. And just a quick reminder that I'm really not a big DC guy. When it comes to the big two, I'm generally more of a Marvel fan, so while I do have a good bit of DC knowledge, I'm really coming at this as more of a Sonic fan than anything else. So if I get something DC related wrong, that's my excuse. I'm dumb. Just like the original series, this one gets right into things with the DC and Sonic worlds linked again already, and of course we had to get Sonic and Flash racing and snarking again, but they do also raise some concerns about the gates that have suddenly appeared that brought the worlds together once more. As one would when mysterious dimension-linking gates basically just appear out of nowhere. Amusingly, they don't comment on the fact that the gates have Lex eggs stamped right on them, which is the pretty obvious clue that even if the gates themselves are safe, which the Justice League has apparently concluded, they're definitely gonna get used for some bad news in the near future. In fact, none of the heroes actually comment on that obvious branding, which is a bit strange in my opinion. Suspension of disbelief and all that, but even Shadow and Batman, who do come to the conclusion that Eggman and Lex Luthor are working together, don't acknowledge it. It's really not that big a deal, and I imagine that everyone's going to know by the second issue that they're working together anyway, but it still seems just a bit weird to not have somebody go, hey, so this branding's a little weird, right? Just the same as the first issue of the original crossover, the big focus of this one is in character interactions rather than big plot developments, and I am A-okay with that, since those interactions are a major reason why crossovers like this are so much fun. There's the aforementioned racing and snarking between Sonic and the Flash, the immediate friendship between Amy and Wonder Woman gets to show up again, and in an awesome way, with Amy making her entrance into the book by whacking goddamn Hades with her hammer, which actually does make a solid impact. Of course, Hades gets back up again, but Amy knocking the god of the underworld to the ground is just amazing. It's on the same level of awesome as that moment a couple of years ago in the main IDW comic of her lifting up that giant hammer mostly by herself. Basically, I'm saying I really like it when they just establish that Amy is incredibly strong for no apparent reason. Plus, I just really love Amy and Wonder Woman as friends. I don't know why. And Amy acknowledging that she kept the outfit the Amazons made for her from the previous crossover is pretty cool. I doubt the DC and Sonic stuff is really considered canon internally, even with Ian Flynn playing coy about whether or not it is. But I'm choosing to believe that even in the main book, this outfit is still in Amy's closet or something. Speaking of friendships I really enjoy, Silver and Green Lantern John Stewart's interactions are really good. For one, John casually telling Silver that he can just call him John instead of Green Lantern shows how friendly they became in the admittedly kinda short time they spent working together, and I like that he gives Silver a power ring again, no questions asked. Silver obviously proved himself more than worthy of wielding the thing in the first story, and while he's probably on more of an honorary role than anything, it's clear that as far as John's concerned, Silver is a Green Lantern as much as he is, and that's really cool to me. On the opposite end, though, are Silver's interactions with Guy Gardner, and I don't know about you, but it doesn't seem like Silver likes Guy very much. He presumably jokes about taking Guy's ring and tossing him out an airlock, blaming it on a villain, or just Guy assuming it was the bathroom door, so I guess he doesn't have a high opinion of Guy's intelligence either. This is a funny moment, really, and Guy is just perfect here. A smug prick who you kinda want to punch, but at the same time you sorta love him. It helps that him calling Silver Palm Frond comes off more like a friendly jab than Guy actually trying to be an asshole here, at least to me. And yeah, I definitely heard Nathan Fillion's voice in my head for Guy's dialogue here. Other fun interactions include Supergirl meeting Cream and getting so overwhelmed with how cute she is that she tells Superman she's done with Earth and staying on Sonic's world, Big fishing up Aquaman at the start of the issue, and Blaze and Starfire casually talking about swapping outfits, which might happen given one of the variant covers for this and issue 3 feature Blaze wearing Starfire's outfit. On the topic of Blaze and Starfire, kind of, this whole segment with the Teen Titans, Hive, and Brother Blood is fun. 1, Beast Boy gets to shapeshift into a Sonic character again, Tails this time, and learns that Tails flying with his 2 tails is not easy at all. And 2, Hive Charmy is an incredibly surreal visual. It's made even better by the ease with which they got Charmy to join, since he was convinced they were just a cool bug-themed club. I do like Charmy, but this tracks. He ain't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. And then Blaze getting him to figure out that Hive are the bad guys by straight up saying they're a terrorist organization is really amusing to me for some reason. There's also a bit in this scene that I think might be a sly reference to a moment from the Archie comics. Brother Blood calls Tails Titan Tails here, and well, I know it's because he's operating with the Teen Titans, so he's describing Tails as a Titan in the same way someone like Raven is. It also immediately makes me think back to, well, Titan Tails, one of the more memorably ridiculous things from Archie. I don't want to say it's for sure a reference, but it's something I couldn't help thinking about with that line. Oh, I touched on it a bit earlier, but I also really liked the scene between Shadow and Batman. Their interactions in the first couple issues of the original crossover were a real highlight, since they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, and that remains true here. Batman knows immediately that Shadow's going to show up upon seeing the Shadow signal, as it were, despite Robin's complaints that it's stupid. He's wrong, it's cool, because of, as Batman puts it, mutual trust and respect. And wouldn't you know it, Shadow shows up right away. When the two have figured out that Lex and Eggman are working together, Shadow tries to go it alone since Darkseid was a god, so to him that justifies working with the League in the first crossover, but Eggman and Lex are pretty much regular guys, so he figures he can handle it himself. But Batman definitely gets Shadow and immediately asks if he can really accept the consequences if something falls through the cracks, leading to Shadow accepting the help. I doubt either of them would admit it to themselves or anyone else, but Shadow and Batman are definitely friends. Related, I'm a huge fan of Shadow not taking any of Robin's shit here. This Robin is Damian Wayne, son of Batman and overall pain in the ass. I'm aware they've apparently done more with Damian in the last few years to make him more tolerable, but all of my experiences with him as a character are of him being the absolute worst, so I really love Shadow putting him in his place. Like, as soon as Shadow shows up, Robin asks if he's here to lose another Batmobile, with Shadow instantly shutting him down and saying that if he wanted real backup, he'd call Red Hood. I presume at some point during the first crossover they bonded over their shared love of firearms. After that, Robin just tries threatening Shadow, which clearly has no effect on him whatsoever. Unsurprisingly, it was a very lame threat. It's very reminiscent of something I loved, but totally forgot to mention somehow, in the first crossover, where Shadow sort of treated the Joker as little more than a pest. Which, as somebody who's gotten so very sick of the Joker over the last handful of years, was very cathartic. For the love of God, DC, I'm begging you, just retire the Joker for like 10 years. Give him a break. Give us a break from him, really. One last thing I want to mention real quick, Lex and Eggman's scene at the end of the book is great too, with the mad scientists getting along pretty damn well. It's giving a lot of the same energy as the interactions between Eggman and Dr. Wily in Archie's first Sonic and Mega Man crossover, and I imagine this is going to end about as well as that did. As fun as it is seeing the villains be all buddy-buddy, we all know it's not going to last. My money's on Eggman being the one to blow it up. That's all I really have to say as far as story goes. It's a damn good read and very much has the same vibe as the original crossover, a lot more concerned with making sure you have a good time and properly showing these universes interacting than trying to tell some huge epic story. Artwork is handled by Adam Bryce Thomas on pencils and I think inks, since no one else is credited for them, with Matt Herms doing the colors, and it's great work, which is to be expected from this team. There are still a couple small moments where the DC characters look a bit off, which was a consistent thing with the first crossover, but it's only like 2 panels and really not that huge a deal. By and large, the art is great. One thing I noticed is that Lex is drawn a little bit differently in this compared to his brief appearance in the first series. He was a bit on the pudgy side there, maybe to draw more of a parallel with Eggman, but here he's a bit closer to his build from Superman the Animated Series. Which is all well and good for me, it makes it that much easier to hear Clancy Brown's voice in my head when reading Lex's dialogue in this. At least it seems that way. He is in that suit, maybe it just compresses him really well. All in all, I was very impressed with Metal Legion's first issue, though I was hardly expecting it to be bad. Once again, I really suggest picking this book up, especially since it really doesn't feel like you need to have read the first one to enjoy it. It certainly helps, you'll get full context for some of the stuff that they do mention in this, and you really should read it because it was great, but if you spot the first issue at your local comic shop or something and want to jump in, you definitely can. I think we are once again in for a solid 5 months of very fun comics.
Oh, I see. Pretty good.
And this isn't even the only Sonic crossover we have this year, because Sonic X Godzilla starts up in July, and I am absolutely going to be covering that. That's another thing I've been excited for since the second it was announced. But that's going to be it from me. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you guys next time. Which is just fine for me. It makes it even easier to hear Clancy Brown's head in my voice. Yep, that's the way I meant to say that. Clancy Brown's head in my voice. Awesome.